Sierra Software Tutorials. Embroidery Office Quick Tour. Before showing how to use this application to create designs and other activities, let's briefly describe what we are seeing on the screen for those who have never used or seen this application before. The first thing we see when we open the application is the form to open designs. The form shows the designs we have recently worked on so that we can reopen them and continue the work in progress without the need to use a file browser to search for the designs in their respective folders. Simply double-click on the design to open it. We go back to the File Open form by selecting the File menu. On the other hand, if we want to open and continue working with a previously created design that we have not used recently or that is stored in a local folder, on the computer network, or on some other drive, we can browse for that design by navigating through the folder tree as we do with any other file, while the contents of each folder are displayed graphically along with its main features. Here you can see that the open designs are organized in colored tabs. A feature of this application is that it allows us to open and work with several designs simultaneously, and also allows us to combine totally or partially several designs to create new designs. The designs we have opened so far do not have the machine format. They have a system format that is much wider, which has enormous benefits if you have to modify them later for any reason, preserving the original quality. The last step in the creation or editing of designs is to export the designs in system formats to machine formats, so that the designs can be loaded into the machines. This form also allows us to load designs in machine formats to view their characteristics, to modify them and to combine them with other designs. If we want to create a new design from scratch, there are several options available. The first option is to simply start creating a new design from a blank document. The next option is to start the creation of a new design using a wizard that suggests a set of properties. After completing those properties, the new document will be ready to insert objects immediately. There are also other options to start a new design document with certain predefined values that each user can define, saving the subsequent adjustment of these values. Here we are going to start creating a new design from a blank document. As we can see, a blank document has been opened in a new tab. At the top of the application, below the title, there is a set of tools organized in tabs. When we start creating a new design, the application displays the set of tools included in the Home tab. Here is something interesting to mention. This tab includes the tools to start the creation of a new design and also to open an existing design, the same ones we found in the File menu form as explained just now, but here they are much more at the user's hand. Let's see the sets of tools that are visible when starting the creation of a new design. Note that some tools may be present in some products while they may be absent in others, depending on the product level and its configuration. As mentioned before, at the top of the application, below the title, there is a set of tools organized in tabs. They are known as the ribbon bars. The first tab is the Home tab. This tab contains general-purpose tools. It is not specific to any type of decoration. It includes, for example, file functions, new, open, save and print, and also clipboard functions, cut, copy, paste, among others. In addition, there are tabs that contain tools more specific to some type of decoration or activity. The last tab contains information about the product, user registration, application status, and also links to the application documentation, including the user manual and training videos. Below the ribbon bars we find the main toolbar. The most important thing about this toolbar is that it includes the functions to switch the working mode, mainly between creation mode and editing mode. In the creation mode we can insert the most diverse objects to the design, while in the editing mode we can make all changes to geometry and properties of all objects in the design and also combine existing objects to create new objects. These are some of the most used functions for editing objects or blocks. These are some of the most commonly used view functions. The workspace does not require any presentation. We have already seen what it shows when we open a design. It is the area where the design we are working on is graphically displayed. Above and to the left of the workspace are the rulers, which allow us to have a dimension of what is built in the workspace. Above the ruler are the tabs that allow us to show all the open designs in the application, and to select which is the active design. At the end of the last tab there is a tool that allows us to start a new blank design document, that is, it is a third option to perform this function, in addition to the File menu and the Home tab. To the right of the tabs there are tools that allow us to show and hide the layers of the design. Design layers refer to auxiliary images and design objects according to the decoration specialty. To inspect some part of the design in detail, to modify some part of the design or to create a new part, we need to expand and move the visible window of the working area. For this, we use the view functions or zoom functions. The application offers several options to use the view functions. Here we will explain only a few functions that we will use in this video. The most basic functions are the zoom rectangle and the zoom to fit in the work area. Zoom rectangle refers to marking a rectangle on the screen in the region we want to expand. This is done by dragging the cursor while pressing the left mouse button. When the button is released, the work area displays the contents of the selected rectangle. Zoom to fit in the work area refers to collapsing the view sufficiently so that all objects in the design are displayed in the work area. While these two functions can cover almost all zooming needs, there are some more practical options that can be used while inspecting, editing, or creating designs. For example, using the mouse wheel to expand or compress the view. Note that the location of the mouse cursor keeps the position of the design. Drag the ruler to move the view to show another portion of the design. On the left margin of the application, to the left of the working area, is the color bar, which includes the tools for defining the color palette, selecting the colors in use and displaying the colors according to the decoration specialty. On the right margin of the application there is a set of vertical tabs, which display panels on the right side of the working area with more information and tools. In a few seconds we will see in action how to work with the mentioned tools while creating a new design. Historically, to create an embroidery design we had to insert the stitch sequence, one by one, as well as machine commands such as stops and color changes. We can certainly still do it that way, but no one does it that way anymore. Currently, to create an embroidery design the designer must insert embroidery objects, which the application then converts into stitch sequences. This design software includes a large number of embroidery objects that we can use to achieve a huge variety of effects. This application offers several different ways to find and select embroidery object types. One way to select any type of embroidery object is through the ribbon bar. We activate the tab where the embroidery tools are located. Then, in the group Insert Embroidery Objects, we choose one of the groups that contains the type of object we are looking for. Finally, we select the type of object I am looking for. Note that a new tab appears with tools that include the specific functions for the chosen object type. The user's manual includes a description of each property. Another alternative and faster way to select any type of embroidery object is through the main toolbar. By clicking on the arrow of the Design Mode tool, the application displays a submenu with the object types organized in groups. Then we choose the type of object we are looking for. 3. Another probably faster and more productive way to choose an embroidery object type is by using the Smart Design tool. This panel displays all available object types, and only one click is enough to select the type of object we are looking for. In this way, it is not necessary to navigate through menus to find and choose the type of object we are looking for. Both because the Smart Design tool is the easiest and most productive way to choose the type of object, as well as for performing other activities that we will see later. We prefer and suggest using this tool in all possible cases. Although the application contains a large number of embroidery object types that allow us to create an unlimited number of different objects, only a few of the most frequently used object types are present in most embroidery designs. Paths with running stitches. Columns with zigzag stitches. Simple areas with zigzag stitches. Complex areas with stitch patterns. We will show some examples as simply as possible, without describing all the options. To show how to create objects of the mentioned types, we will create the objects by manual digitizing, that is, inserting each of the elements that define the shape of the object by clicking on the work area. Later we will show other more efficient digitizing methods. Paths with running stitches. These objects are commonly used for shape borders, and for other uses where highlighting lines is required. We select the object type, path with running stitches. Select Manual Digitizing Mode. In the ribbon bar, there is a tab containing functions related to this type of object, including stitch filling properties that can be set before creating the object. Select the thread color. Insert the nodes defining the shape in the work area. This can be an open or closed shape. If the predefined node type is curved, we can insert a straight node by pressing the Shift key while we click, and vice versa. Press the Enter key to complete the object. The stitch generator converts the object into stitches. Let's see an example of a path with running stitches adding other elements, in this case entry and exit points. Columns with zigzag stitches. These objects are commonly used for filling shapes that are narrow in width, no more than 1 centimeter. They can be used for borders of shapes that are wider than the running stitches, and for other uses where it is required to highlight parts of the design. Many typefaces are built primarily of columns with zigzag stitches. Select the object type, columns with zigzag stitches. Select the manual digitizing mode. Select the thread color. In the ribbon bar, there is a tab containing functions related to this type of object, including stitch filling properties that can be set before creating the object. Insert the nodes defining the shape into the work area by entering them in pairs. The nodes simultaneously define the shape of the created object, and the pairs of nodes define the directions of the filling stitches. If the predefined node type is curved, we can insert a straight node by pressing the Shift key while we click, and vice versa. Press the Enter key to complete the object. The stitch generator converts the object into stitches. Let's see an example of columns with zigzag stitches by adding other elements, in this case entry and exit points. Regarding the entry and exit points, something important that we have not mentioned before is that we cannot define them, letting the application optimize the location of the entry and exit points as the closest points between one object and the next. Simple areas with zigzag stitches. These objects are commonly used in cases similar to those mentioned in column with zigzag stitches. The benefit of using this type of object is that it speeds up digitizing in certain cases, especially when the digitizing is not manual, but auto-tracing or digitizing vector objects. Select the object type, simple areas with zigzag stitches. Select the manual digitizing mode. Select the thread color. In the ribbon bar, there is a tab containing functions related to this object type, including stitch filling properties that can be set before creating the object. Insert the nodes defining the shape or outline in the work area. Define the stitch directions. Press the Enter key to complete the object. The stitch generator converts the object into stitches. Complex areas with stitch patterns. These objects are commonly used for filling in large shapes. The sequence of stitches forms a pattern that gives a nice effect. This type of object is also widely used as a background for designs. Select the object type, complex area with stitch pattern. Select the manual digitizing mode. Select the thread color. In the ribbon bar, there is a tab containing functions related to this type of object, including stitch filling properties that can be set before creating the object. Insert the nodes defining the main shape in the work area. If the predefined node type is curved, we can insert a straight node by pressing the Shift key while we click, and vice versa. If the shape has holes, we can enter the nodes of the holes. We can also define the direction of the stitches. Press the Enter key to complete the object. The stitch generator converts the object into stitches. Other types of objects. As shown in the Smart Design tool, the application includes more types of objects than we have explained so far, which we will not explain in this video. We can experiment with them in the same way as we did here. More information about all types of embroidery objects is available in the user manual. Another topic that we have not explained in this video so far and will not explain from now on is about object properties. Each type of object has particular properties, which are kind of like the specification required by the stitch generator to know how to create the stitches. The main properties of the objects are shown, as we have already seen, in the ribbon bars, in the tabs that open when we are creating the objects. Stitch color, stitch lengths, stitch density, underlay adjustment, and pole compensation are some examples of object properties. We have seen so far that embroidery designs are basically a sequence of embroidery objects, which the stitch generator converts into stitch sequences and then exports the designs in machine formats. We have also seen that the objects are basically defined by three characteristics: the type of object, the geometry of the object, the properties of the object. The designer's job is to think of the design as a sequence of objects, and define the three characteristics mentioned above for those objects, trying to interpret how the original artwork or graphics should be converted to stitches. A while ago we mentioned that we prefer to use the Smart Design tool to insert embroidery objects because it is the most productive option and because it has other benefits. Now let's mention some of those benefits. Here is a design we have created with the tools already explained. We change the mode of the Smart Design tool from New Object, with which we create a new design by inserting new objects, to Convert, with which we can edit the created objects. In this mode we can select each of the objects previously created in the work area. Each time we select an object, a box containing the object is displayed. The object nodes and other geometrical elements are displayed, and the properties of that particular object are displayed in the ribbon bar. Now we are ready to modify the main shape of the object, any of its geometrical elements or its properties. All these features are visible and available at the same time. We can also move, scale and rotate the objects, among other functions. And most impressively, we can also change the object type to another type. We have already created a design and set the properties of the objects it includes. The application includes a specific tool if we want to have more control of the design, where absolutely all the properties of each object can be edited. On the right margin of the application, the Object Manager tab opens a panel that includes two fundamental tools. In the upper part, the Document Map is displayed. In the lower part, the Object Inspector is displayed. The document map shows all objects in the design as a tree-like list. When you select an object from this list, the same object is selected in the working area. And vice versa, selecting any object in the working area also selects the same object in the document map list. The sequence of objects shown in the document map is the same sequence used by the stitch generator to create the stitches of the design. If there are overlapping objects in the work area, then the objects at the bottom of the list will be the last to be produced, and will be above the previous objects. The document map allows us to sort the sequence of objects by simply dragging them and placing them in a different position. We maximize the Object Inspector to show more details. The Object Inspector includes all object properties, unlike the ribbon bars which only includes the main properties. This is the ideal tool to know and learn all the filling options available for each object type, and to adjust the values of each property, since all properties are perfectly explicit and organized. In general, designs are created from reference images. These are auxiliary images which we call artwork. For most of the designs we are going to create, we need to load the artwork that we will use as the base of the design. The artwork may have been created in this or other graphics applications, either raster images or vector images. The artwork can also come from the internet, from cameras or from scanners. Creating a design from images is known as digitizing. The digitizing modes offered by this application, as well as other features shown in this video, depend on the software configuration of the product. Let's first look at the digitizing modes for raster images. Raster or bitmap images are images defined by individual pixels. They are files that have extension BMP, PNG, JPG, and others. We are going to load a raster image into the document where we will create the design. Like many other functions, the application offers several ways to load raster images. 1. Through the Artwork tab, using the Open function, then selecting the Open Raster Image option. 2. Through the catalog, using the Image Raster function. 3. By selecting the corresponding file in the Windows File Explorer and dragging the file to the work area. When the image is selected, the Image ribbon is displayed, which includes some properties that can be edited and some functions that can be applied to the image. In this video we will not explain these features. Once the image has been loaded into the document, the next step is to give the image the correct size. Let's scale the image. One more time, the application offers several options to scale the image. 1. Scale graphically. When we select the image, just as when we select any other object, the image is inserted into a box that surrounds it. This box also has control points that allow us to move, scale and rotate the contents of the rectangle, in this case the image. The image can be scaled by simply moving the end points of the box to obtain a proportional scaling and maintain the aspect ratio of the image. Moving the midpoints of the box, we can resize the image in non-proportional scaling. The box can be moved to relocate it to a new position, and it can also be rotated, if necessary. 2. Scaling using reference points with known distances. Look for the rescale function in the block transformation function group. Draw a line between the known reference points and release the mouse button. In the dimensions form, replace the value of the distance between these points with the new value. The image is scaled adopting the new dimension. If we need to correct the orientation of the image because it is rotated, we can do it very easily and accurately using the angular rotation function, also available in the transformation functions group. As with scaling, we draw a line between two reference points with known angle, for example horizontal line, and then replace the value shown in the angle form by the known value, in our case 0 degrees. The image is rotated to the desired position. 3. Scale the image as a block, editing the values of the dimension. This is very simple. Like the quick scaling of any object or block, the dimensions shown in the main toolbar can be modified by entering the new values. The scaling can be proportional or non-proportional. When the image has the correct orientation and size, we can center it in the workspace. Select the image and look for the center function in the alignment functions group. If this image will be used only as a reference to create a design and we do not intend to modify it again, it is probably convenient to fix its position to prevent the image from moving accidentally. To do that, we look for the lock function in the auxiliary layer. Green light indicates that all auxiliary objects are visible and can be freely edited. Yellow light indicates that these objects are visible but are locked, that is, they cannot be selected. Red light indicates that these objects are invisible. Digitizing modes for raster images. We will now present the digitizing modes used when the artwork comes from raster images. Then, we will present other digitizing options when the artwork comes from vector images. Manual digitizing mode, or classic digitizing mode. This is the most commonly used mode that allows precise control of the shapes of the objects we are creating. The image we have loaded, whether raster or vector, will only be a reference that will allow us to insert each of the nodes of the shape of the object we are creating. The sequence is as follows. Select the type of object to insert. This does not need to be repeated each time if the consecutive objects are of the same type. Select the classic or manual digitizing mode. This does not need to be repeated each time if the following objects will be created with this same mode. Select the color of the object. This does not need to be repeated each time if the consecutive objects are of the same color. Insert the nodes, one by one until the shape is finished. Other geometrical elements can be inserted if appropriate, for example direction lines. Then press the Enter key to generate stitches. Shapes can have straight and curved segments. We must use the appropriate key combinations to define whether the nodes are straight, curved or corners. We can switch to Edit mode to adjust all elements of the shapes. Repeat. Contour Auto Trace digitizing mode. When the image has a good resolution, we can save some time by using the auto trace to skip the classic digitizing. The sequence is: select the type of object to insert. This does not need to be repeated each time if the consecutive objects are of the same type. Select the Contour Auto Stroke digitizing mode. This does not need to be repeated each time if the following objects will be created with this mode. Select the color of the object. This does not need to be repeated each time if the consecutive objects are of the same color. Place the cursor over the image, in the region where you want to define the shape, and press the left mouse button. If the marked region is correct, we can insert other geometrical elements if appropriate, for example direction lines. Then press the Enter key to generate stitches. Repeat. Center Path Auto Trace digitizing mode. This digitizing mode is similar to Contour Auto Trace, but the object created is not an area but a line through the center of the selected shape. Autocomplete digitizing mode. This digitizing mode is similar to auto contour auto trace, but in addition to the shape definition, the application decides where to insert other geometrical elements of the object, that is, cutting lines and directions. Hands-free digitizing mode. With this digitizing mode, we can create shapes that have a more rustic look, where the designer's hand strokes are visible. This mode is also used for some special applications. Predefined geometric shapes digitizing mode. Once the type of object to be digitized has been selected, we look for the desired shape. The application includes a large number of predefined geometric shapes. Once the shape is selected, the shape can be inserted into the work area by defining the box that contains it. The shape is inserted, scaled, and positioned in a single action. If we want the shape to keep the original proportion, we press the Control key while defining the rectangle. Digitizing modes for vector images. Vector images are images defined by shapes. They are files that have SVG, DXT, and other extensions. Let's load a vector image into the document where we will create the design. Like many other functions, the application offers several ways to load vector images. Through the Artwork tab, using the Open function, then selecting the Open Vector Image option. We can also load images from other graphic applications. Through the catalog, using the Image Vector function. When the image is selected, the vector ribbon is displayed, which includes some properties that can be edited and some functions that can be applied to the image. In this video, we will not explain these features. Digitizing vector images. All of the digitizing modes that can be used with raster images also apply to vector images. Classic digitizing, auto trace digitizing, hands-free digitizing, and geometric shapes can all be used in the same way with vector images as with raster images, which we have already seen. But if the artwork comes from vector images, we can use a more natural way of digitizing, taking advantage of the fact that the shapes of the objects are well defined. We could use those same existing shapes for the embroidery objects, skipping the digitizing. And it is more than simple. We load the vector image and ungroup the objects to use them individually. If there are overlapping objects, we can leave them that way, or we can use the object combination functions to avoid overlapping. Then, instead of using the New Object mode in the Smart Design tool, we use the Convert mode. And then, we just select each vector object in the work area and assign it an object type in the Smart Design tool. Finalizing the design. Now we are ready to create our first design. If we want to create quality designs, what is very important and we have not included in this video are the object's properties. Before sending any design to production, it is absolutely necessary to adjust the object's properties, which can be done during the creation or by editing the objects afterwards. In this video we skip all that, for space reasons. Once the design is finished, we must save it. It is essential that we save the designs in the system format, also called design document, so that we can open it again later and edit its parts as if we had just created it. Next, we can save the design in the machine format compatible with the existing equipment. Thank you for watching.